All right. Well, today we're very fortunate that we're out with Dr. Tony Lupo. We're at the Cornett Farm, and you've been talking to the kids about weather safety, and I learned a lot today. But weather is something on everybody's mind.
Oh, it certainly is. Of course, now that we're coming into summer and it's been so dry across Missouri, it's got everybody thinking about rain.
Right. And they've had some rain around here, but what they had just a few days ago was a tornado. Do you know what size that tornado was?
Well, the Weather Service tells us it was a high-end F2 tornado, maybe a low-end F3, because those kind of things are hard to gauge. And of course, I was interested to learn that this weather station right here recorded an 88-mile-an-hour wind gust.
Oh, wow.
And of course, the tornado went through, not at this station, but a little ways away. And so using some models, I'll be able to calculate roughly how much the wind may have been.
Oh, inside the tornado?
In the tornado itself.
My goodness. So this is part of the Mesonet, right?
This is part of the Missouri Mesonet. It's one of over 40 of these that we have across the state. And they are recording temperatures, soil temperatures, moisture, wind, sunlight, all the stuff that we need for agriculture.
But this also helps you maybe predict when these tornadoes are going to come or other weather events.
Yeah, absolutely. This kind of information can give the National Weather Service a better idea where there's boundaries between warm and cold air. Because the Weather Service only has 3 stations, with 3 weather offices around the state, and maybe about 20 cooperative offices. And so the Mesonet gives them a little more data to work with.
Oh, wow. So they can help predict when these are going to happen in the intensity.
Yeah, as much as one can predict them, it'll help to make that a little easier.
Did you all know that there's a pretty good chance that we could have some severe weather when we had this?
There was some notion that we could, and what was a little bit unusual about Saturday was the fact that we had these isolated thunderstorms grow up, much like you might see in Texas or Oklahoma where it's much drier. And because it's been so dry around here, that helped set the stage for weather events that look more like that.
So we had more like a summer type thunderstorm come through and tornado activity.
Yeah, well, it was more spring-like.
Okay.
It was very much spring-like, but happens out in the areas of the country where it's a little drier.
Okay.
There's usually a little more moisture around here. And the bad thing about tornadoes and moist thunderstorms is it can hide the tornado.
Oh.
But with these kind of Oklahoma-like storms, this tornado was very visible. And in fact, one of the famous Oklahoma storm chasers was up here in the Linnaeus area on Saturday night.
So when we see those folks show up, we better take cover.
Yeah, it's kind of like seeing Jim Cantori come to your town from the Weather Channel.
That's right. You don't want to be around that. But I mentioned in Oklahoma and Texas, which is traditional tornado alley. I have heard that the tornado alley is starting to shift to the east and maybe to the north into Missouri.
It's shifting a bit east, especially in the south. And across the southeast, it's becoming more active.
You're talking about Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia.
Yeah, here in the middle of Missouri and in points like Boone County and even up here a little bit, what protects us a little bit is that Ozarks Plateau.
Oh, really?
That the big stuff that comes out of Oklahoma will lose a little bit of its steam climbing up the Ozarks Plateau. And then, of course, once it goes down the plateau and St. Louis and areas like that can get hit, and you're seeing some of that kind of shift, yes.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
wow. So if I lived in a river plain, would that be a protection, or would that be more of a where they could...
Well, they certainly like those flatter areas like we have here.
Okay.
So
even this is flat enough that it won't make them skip too much.
no, it won't make them skip too much, but again, if we're going to get tornadoes here, it's going to be more out of Nebraska, or Kansas, just like Saturday's was. That weather system came out of Nebraska and Kansas rather than the Southwest.
Okay, so we didn't have the Ozarks to protect us on this one, did we?
Yeah, the Ozarks couldn't help us on this one. So.
And those are typical out of the spring then, the ones out of Kansas and Nebraska.
Yeah, you'll get those in the spring and sometimes in the fall. So.
Okay, all right. Now, are ever weather changing, attributing to some of this? Our atmosphere seems like it's heating up a little bit.
Well, the weather is getting warmer, the climate's getting warmer, there's no doubt about that. And of course, scientists have some debate as to how much humans are having a role in that, but it is warming, and that everybody can agree on.
and that causes our storms and maybe even our tornadoes a little bit more.
Yeah, it can make storms a little more vigorous because the water cycle gets to be a little more vigorous. But you have another effect is that when the climate warms, it's the polar regions that warm more. And so that would make the parent storms weaker.
Okay.
So you have these two conflicting physical effects, and of course it's a matter of which one is going to win.
And that's why predicting the weather is so challenging and scientific and fascinating, because you got so many interactions going on.
Oh, absolutely. There's so many variables, and the human mind, as we conceptualize it, can only keep track of so many, and even our powerful computers, the computers are only as good as what we put into them. And a lot of folks say that, we can model the atmosphere. Well, we model something that resembles the atmosphere.
Sure. Well, I know one time in Missouri, we had terrible drought, and you told me it was a blocking high, maybe Greenland or someplace that was doing all this?
Oh, yeah. Blocking highs can dry us out, especially when they occur over the continent, because blocking highs will shut off the cloudiness. You get downward motion with those, and so you shut down any cloud production. And of course, that helps to keep things drying out.
And that can happen even when maybe we have an El Nino thing, and we're going to have some good moisture, but then the blocking high could reverse all of that.
Absolutely, yeah. El Nino and La Nina can have a role, and also this blocking can have a role.
So for 2023 summer, we have an El Nino that we're going into?
We are going into an El Nino, and the thing that's concerning me is that statistically that's usually better for us in terms of rain and temperatures, but so far it's just been horribly dry.
Yes. So. I think it's been dry for about 25 years in my memory, as far as this early in the spring.
Yes, and Dr. Patrick Gannan, my predecessor, told me it's been the driest March 25th to May 5th since in our whole history, beating out even 1936.
Oh my gosh, which was the Dust Bowl.
That's scary territory.
Yes, it is.
So.
Weather is on everybody's mind.
It is, especially out here, and we all love to talk about it.
We do. We can't do a thing about it.
We can't do nothing about it.
Yes, it is. Well, thanks so much, Tony. Anything else you want to tell our viewers?
When you talk about weather, just pay attention, be weather savvy, be prepared for the kind of conditions you're going to be in, and just make sure you're paying attention.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Dr. Lupo.
Yeah.